Stephen A. is some sort of retard that they gave a thesaurus to.
What is up, world? Welcome back, Charge the Game podcast. As Jason Whitlock exposes Stephen A. Smith, Cam Newton, and anybody else who is coming to the defense of Joy Taylor and her sex scandal. Make sure you guys get in here, subscribe to the YouTube channel, thumbs up, like the video. Let's go.
Because he's a coward and he's willfully ignorant. He's basically complaining about me. How dare Jason Whitlock? He won't say my name because he's a coward. But how dare guys like Jason Whitlock, who I won't name, how dare they say, use this Joy Taylor thing to argue that women don't belong in this industry.
Now, guys, before he continues, I did see the video of Stephen A. Smith. And I got to be honest with you, man. I'm on Jason Whitlock's side here because the thing about Jason Whitlock is once he gives a take, he stands on it, and he also gives the supporting evidence on why he's taking his stance, whether it's biblical beliefs or just exposing the ugly truth. Whereas Stephen A. Smith, he's more straddle the fence, stay in the middle because he wants to appease to his crowd. Obviously, his following is predominantly black. He doesn't want to come out and do anything to upset the black community, just like he did when he was campaigning for Kamala Harris. And as soon as the presidential election was over, he comes out and says that he regrets voting Democrat, right? And I know that this is off topic, but this is just how Stephen A. Smith is. He's a very shysty guy. He's clever and he's a snake. And the thing I like about Jason Whitlock exposing Stephen A. Smith here is that he does it for the wrong reasoning. It's not even like he truly believes what he's saying. If you watch Stephen A. Smith, man, Stephen A. Smith, a lot of the stuff that he agrees with is not how he truly feels about it. And anybody with a set of eyeballs can see it.
I have to admit, I'm pretty pissed off. Now, there's a few people's names I'm not going to mention because, damn it, they ain't worth it, okay? And I get that. But there's a few men out there that are acting like, this is the perfect excuse to justify why we make the argument that women don't belong in the industry, which is an incredibly egregious thing to say, okay? They'll look at any woman sitting in a host chair or any woman that's a reporter out there or any woman that has to walk into the locker room, and all of a sudden their credibility is being questioned. My thing, what I'm more appalled at by, rather, even that, is the women all over social media.
And the crazy part about this, guys, is that Stephen A. Smith, who literally argues with the women on the show every day, he's clashing with women every day. Stephen A. Smith does not like to be around women as well. He has the same views as Jason Whitlock, but he won't come out here and say that. He's going to start a different type of controversial debate by coming at it from the opposite direction. It's very smart how Stephen A. Smith conducts his business and how he goes on these rants, because at the end of the day, it's all about clickbait and the money. At the end of the day, it's all about getting those views. What can I say? This is the same guy that said he will wake up and think about how to make money for his bosses and then how to make money for himself. Obviously, this show is Stephen A. Smith, so I don't trust or believe a word that comes out of Stephen A. Smith's mouth. Now, there are some topics that I give him grace on, but not this situation, because if this was a male in this situation, right, the tables would turn and this was a male, I don't think that Stephen A. Smith would be sharing the same sentiments. And he says something about why women are allowing this to happen. A lot of women go against prostitution or giving their bodies up to climb the pole or to get a higher role or land a better job. A lot of women do not respect that. If allegedly this is true, a lot of women don't like that. So they're going to call out Joy Taylor. They're going to be like, no, like people are going to have their opinions, and that is okay.
It's the abundance of women out there who are laughing, who are pointing the finger at Joy Taylor with a profound level of guilt as if they know. Even when they throw in the word allegedly, they do it with smirks on their face, sort of dismissive, because in this business, we know how to speak with our body language.
But he also has to understand the toll that Joy Taylor has also, taken upon an audience that follows her or watches her. Joy Taylor slowly evolved over the years where a lot of people stopped liking her. So nobody's going to pity Joy Taylor right now because she comes from this boasting energy and saying like, I'm a black woman, feminist this, I've done this, I've worked so hard to get here, and now that her dirty laundry is being aired, people are coming back and taking their shots there. That's why Joy Taylor, out of Skip Bayless, Charlie Dixon, she is the only one who is getting the most heat because of how she carried herself, how she acted towards and responded to people. Joy Taylor is very petty, and if you watch Joy Taylor like I have, I started to see this on The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Joy Taylor, man, started to slowly become a monster, if I'm being honest with you guys, and that is why Joy Taylor is, nobody's pitying her.
I think she's worthy of the position that she has on Fox Sports. I think her podcast with Taylor Rooks is a damn good podcast. I think her credentials in this business have been established.
This is what I mean when I say these people are installed and they're idiots and they're there to distract you. Mm-hmm. And like, how dare I question the credibility of Joy Taylor? Stephen A., I question your credibility in the strongest way possible. Mm-hmm. To sit here and to pretend like, oh, I've only questioned Joy Taylor or women. Are you kidding me? I've questioned the entire industry.
And this is where I got to agree with Jason Whitlock, because he was the one that exposed Stephen A. Smith. This beef goes far beyond this moment. Jason Whitlock was the one who exposed Stephen A. Smith for fabricating a whole basketball career in these accolades like he was some big college basketball player, and saying that he made, I think, like 21 shots in a row, and then he was offered a scholarship. He said that he injured himself and he was he messed his knee up and he had to get a 6-inch screw in his knee. And we all know that 6 inches is come on, dude. Like, Jason Whitlock exposed all that. And the fact that Stephen A. Smith is on record averaging 1.5 points for his basketball career is why Jason Whitlock is saying, like, dude, I question you too. And he has called out Stephen A. Smith, but Stephen A. Smith won't come at Jason Whitlock directly because he knows that Jason Whitlock keeps receipts, and he has no problem reminding the world of who exactly Stephen A. Smith is.
If you're gonna have a Stephen A. Smith, you gotta have the Joy Taylors of the world. You have to take something, sports that have been dominated by men, conversations about sports which have been dominated by men, and you have to inject feminism into that conversation so that men like Stephen A. Smith will talk like women. And he does that regularly.
And that is what the whole ESPN has turned into. If you look at ESPN, it's literally gender wars. And if I have to be honest, all I see is the brothers and the sisters going at it, which is not a good look. Everything about ESPN, since the reorg, everything's going on is messy. People don't like each other, and everything is about race baiting. Shout out to the coach of Notre Dame, who just previously won the bowl, the good-looking brother, the Asian and black guy. I like how he stunned ESPN reporters when they was talking about how does it feel to be a black man doing this. Like, everything is ruined when people do this. I don't think people understand. It's like, what do we get as black people that another black person is doing something? Honestly, it does nothing for an individual person. Seriously, like, I could be happy for you, but it doesn't mean that it does anything for me. If I'm not, pursuing your career, if I'm not like a mentee or someone a part of your program, I can be genuinely happy for you. But when people come out and they talk about this, like, let's say there's going to be 2 black quarterbacks that make it to the Super Bowl. I genuinely hate when they say, oh, Super Bowl, 2 black quarterbacks. Why? That ruins it. We want to watch sports. We don't want to watch the color of it. And hey, these people installed, like Jason Whitlock say, it is what it is. It is the truth.
And I pointed it out that this is the problem with all of these guys. They get around a woman, and the next thing you know, they start pandering. And if it's an attractive woman, oh my God, there's no limit to what they won't say. And so Stephen A. Smith, upset with me, can't really talk about it because he's scared of me. I get it.
I wonder why sports television has turned into this. You can see it from your living room. You see some of these women come on here, did not play the sport, literally probably not the best journalists. They're not, at least not old school journalists like the Skip Bayless is. Even the Stephen A. Smith, at least he's old school, right? you see these women come on these shows and they're not all the way informed. We see Molly Quorum, who is the worst of the worst. They interject themselves just to get a little bit of attention, and they stick around long enough and do what they have to do to maintain their jobs. Apparently, it's annoying, if I'm being honest with you, because there are some women that cover the sports that you could tell genuinely make the show better, but you also see the pandering. You also see their white Caucasian counterparts who literally try their best to not offend them because they don't want that stigma. They don't want that being attached to them. And this is why sports all over has become soft, in my opinion, because it has become more feminized. And back in the day, women weren't concerned with sports like that. It was a men's thing. Now, I'm not saying that women can't be included nor involved, but the way that sports have shifted due to, let's be honest, feminism and DEI, it has drastically affected multiple sports, guys. That is the exact truth.
You mentioned something about Joy Taylor and Taylor Rooks doing a podcast together and how great it is. And I'm just like, oh, this dude's so uninformed. And again, if you're going to make that reference, Steven, at least recognize, and the show's been canceled. They walked away from each other. So no matter how great you're pretending and lying to think that this show is great and blah, 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 it doesn't even exist anymore, Steven.
And this is why I say Jason Whitlock always comes with facts, his research. The show has been canceled. And to be honest, the show was canceled because of Joy Taylor's attitude. Like this cocky, arrogant, talking about this thing, that thing. Like, let's be honest, nobody's going to tune in to Joy Taylor to listen to sports. Okay? You're there as eye candy as such. And it's not like you are bad at your job. I think that she's a great moderator. I think that she interjects herself a little bit too much. But the fact that this show is canceled and Stephen A. Smith is saying that this is an outstanding podcast is why Jason Whitlock is saying that this guy is a fraud. He's installed and he's just saying things for ratings and viewership.
Freaking uninformed. It's embarrassing. And your point of view, so detached from biblical wisdom that you sound like an idiot and you say stupid things constantly. And I thank God for it, to be quite honest with you, because as I said at the very beginning of this, Stephen A's idiocy is the reason why I remain relevant, despite all the forces working against me and Fearless and what we do here. I remain relevant because these people are so stupid and so cowardly that I'm your only source of consistent, like authentic, intelligent, brave sports commentary.
And this is why I like Jason Whitlock, man. Like, at first, be honest with you guys, I really didn't have anything for Jason Whitlock, but I also was a LeBron James fan at the time too. So, damn, things have changed because I had to, be more involved in sports. I started to really pay attention to what was going on. On top of that, combine that with what's going on in the world, and combine that with, hey, how do I view myself biblically, spiritually, morally valued as a man? And once I started to kind of come into my own, I started to kind of listen from a different perspective, and I realized, like, hey man, this dude Jason Whitlock, he's hated, but he really calls it out. He tells you guys the truth, because the popular thing to do, especially in the black community, is go with what everybody else is going with. And Jason Whitlock, man, he's fair. He's fair. And I feel like the only reason that he is that way is because of his Christian beliefs. And when you do walk with God, man, like you really don't fear anything. So I do understand the show Fearless, but it's also in a more in-depth spiritual level for me, myself. And I do like Jason Whitlock calling out Stephen A. Smith, because Stephen A. Smith dances with the devil a lot, man. And he don't keep it real. He just does it. And Jason Whitlock is there every single time to clean up the trash audio that's in statements and teachings that's being pushed out by Stephen A. Smith and others. And he cleanses it in a way that's actually logical and truthful.
Stephen A. is some sort of retard that they gave a thesaurus to. This man, he flunked 4th grade, and they tried to hold him back, and he acknowledges in his own book that he had a high school counselor laugh at the thought of Stephen A. going to college. Anybody that worked with Stephen A. at the Philadelphia Inquirer and early in his career, when he was trying to be a writer, guy wrote like at a 6th, 7th grade level. And the editors are rewriting everything for it because he's propped up and installed.
This is crazy, man. Jason Whitlock going in, okay? Damn. And we'll never know what Jason Whitlock knows, right? He's been behind the scenes. He's a journalist. He worked his way up the same way that Stephen A. Smith worked his way up, but he is a true journalist. So he's saying he knows his craft, and he knows that Stephen A. Smith was a guy that was constantly laughed at. We all know the story of how he did Allen Iverson, right? He's backstabbing people to get to the top. Until this day, man, Stephen A. Smith is that same character, in my opinion, man. But him coming to the defense of Joy is all fake news to me. It's not sincere, and he just wants clickbait. He obviously is going to be people that can gravitate to his show just to hear his opinion. But when people want to really get things going, they'll just say the opposite of what everybody else is saying, and that'll create traction. Therefore, Stephen A. Smith, man, is just an industry plant, like Jason Whitlock always says, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. What do you guys think about Jason Whitlock's take and Stephen A. Smith coming to the defense of Joy Taylor? Do you guys sincerely think that this is something Stephen A. Smith means or not? Let me know in the comment section, guys. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Yeah.